Hanson, it is Friday. It's McCarty Yacht Sales Friday. Thanks to our great sponsor, McCarty Yachts, we're able to do this show on Fridays. So thank you very much, Todd and John over at McCarty Yachts, for allowing us to do the show and being a huge sponsor and always being there for us and selling some phenomenal yachts to most of my clients are working with you guys, either selling their yacht or buying a new yacht. So thank you guys for all your support. I appreciate you. We'll show you a cool little video a little later in the show. Gang, I'm super excited. Right now, I got my bags right behind me. I'm packing up. I'm getting ready to leave. I'm saying goodbye to my monkey and my beautiful wife again. I just got back from Alaska, and now I'm leaving tomorrow for Florida because we are going to the biggest, greatest fishing manufacturing show in the world. It's like going to Disneyland for a guy like me. We're going to ICAST, and I was able to procure the man, the myth, the legend, the busiest guy in the industry right now, wearing a massive amount of hats, and he's taken an hour out of his busy day to be with us. The president of ICAST, the president of ASA, the American Sport Fishing Association, and a whole bunch of other hats that we'll talk about today. Glenn Hughes, welcome to the show. You're joining us, and I know your time is super valuable right now. So jump on in here and let's do this thing. Good morning.
Thanks, Captain Dave, good to see you. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to get together with you and your audience.
Well, thank you very much. And my love goes to my sister for putting us together. So thank you, Donna, very, very much. And it's always a special to have you on here, Glenn, because you got your finger on the pulse of our industry. And it is, like I try to tell everybody, it's our industry. We're all in this together. And it's super important. This is a big event coming up. Can we talk about how ICAST came to be, how they grabbed you and made you the president? You've been involved for a very long time.
Sure. I've been fortunate to be going to the show for the last 35 years. This is just my 11th year as an employee at the American Sport Fishing Association. It is the 68th ICAST, or really the name of ICAST has only been 27 years. It was AFTMA and a few other names before that. But it's the same industry trade show. You know, ASA's been around this is our 93rd year. And the trade show was in Chicago for a long time before mostly Las Vegas and then now down in Orlando for the last dozen years or so. And so what a great week it is to get together the industry. And that's the manufacturers that are the exhibitors there. There'll be about 580 of them. The retailers and the wholesalers that come. Right now, I'm counting about 1,200 independent retail shops are coming to the show between, and I'm talking like Bass Pro's one shop and Walmart's one shop. And so we got a lot of those folks coming, and then we've got about, I don't know, some 700, 800 members of the media and so many more. But we've already got more than 10,000 people registered for the show, and it's going to be a great week.
It's absolutely insane week, gang. And I know a lot of you come to those shows out here on the West Coast or across America and the retail shows. This is the manufacturers. This is the inner part of the industry. This is where everyone gets together and figures out what they're bringing out to the masses, showing us the new products that they have, getting ready for all of the stuff that's going to go on at all the trade shows that you'll be able to go and buy stuff at later. This is not open to the public. It's not a retail show. This is actually everybody getting together to show off all their wares, and all the retail companies coming and meeting the people and putting in their orders for all this is a huge event for the industry. It's hard to even wrap your head around it. The amount of people Glenn just said that are going to be there, the amount of booths that are going to be there, and the people that are going to be there, the influencers come out of the woodwork. They're all hanging out at the show. I see so many of the people that I watch all the time there, Glenn. This event is incredible. And then last year, you guys added something that was super cool. I got to be involved with it with Promar out at the lake in front of the convention center. It's a very exciting event before you open the doors for the actual event.
Oh yeah. So I'll come back to the on the water demo day, but even before that, on Monday, this is a 5-day show. On Monday, there's the Lunkers and Bunkers, or actually Tuesday's Lunker, actually Monday Lunker and Bunker, excuse me, show that we'll have about 100 folks playing golf and fishing on the golf course along the way, and have a lot of different prizes and fun with those folks. Try to raise money for Keep America Fishing. So that's Monday. Tuesday, besides on the water, we also have the ICAST Cup Bass Fishing Tournament. We normally have about 70 teams out on the water trying to fast, and just in about 3 hours, they come back with a great bag limit of largemouth bass. And so we have fun awards with that. And again, money for Keep America Fishing. And then, at the same time, we're also pulling off, somehow our team pulls it off, the On the Water Demo Day. And so it's great to be associated right there outside the doors of the North Hall of the Convention Center. And we'll have about 50 booths out there to give a chance for people to check out the new products before we get to the show floor on Wednesday morning. And so we moved it up an hour to 9 a.m. So you're going to have to get up earlier, Dave. But it's a great chance for folks to mix it up with the industry before the show opens and to try out the new product. And guess what? There's some big bass in that pond. There's been some 7-pounders pulled out of that little retention pond.
Yeah, why they were showing off their products last year, guys were hooking some big fish in there. It's just a really cool way to get to see the products outside in the light, because when you hit the show floor, it's so crazy the amount of people in there and everybody wanting to see the new stuff, plus a lot of people doing business. So to have that available out there in front of the convention center, that pond or lake, if you will, out in front of there, is just a great venue for everybody to come together. And it's a different feeling, it's a different atmosphere. I know I'm with Promar, Ben, and Steve. They weren't real sure what was going to happen out there, but oh my gosh, if you're not involved in the outside out at the pond thing, I would definitely say you need to be involved in it next year. And you guys got to get there at 9 o'clock in the morning, come see what's going on, because the amount of people that came last year, Glenn, and it was the first year, it was insane. I was overwhelmed by the amount of people that I had to talk to, and we didn't think anybody was going to come.
I wouldn't say it was the first year. I mean,
Okay.
we've been doing it for a number of years out there. We used to do it down at Lake Toho, about 30 minutes away, but we've been out front there for 5 or 6 years now.
Oh, okay.
And it is something that has been a nice addition to the show. Again, the ASA team works so hard all year long, but during that course of that week, it's all hands on deck, and people really have no idea what it takes to do all the different elements, because we haven't even started the show yet as far as the doors opening on Wednesday morning, and we've got so much going on before then.
Oh yeah. I was in the trade show industry for a while when I left the sport fishing industry, and I worked for a company called Freeman, and we've set up the biggest trade shows in the world. And I know what you guys have to do to put that whole thing together. And it's done so eloquently, and everything flows. When you come in, you see the flow is incredible, the way that everything just flows together. You come in the convention center through the lobby and you're flowing, and there's eye candy everywhere. It's just, for a fisherman and outdoorsman, the stuff is just everywhere, and it's overwhelming how much cool stuff's going on out there. And I wish that all of you could experience it, but unfortunately you can't. But we're going to do our best by going live as much as we can at the show. And Tom Rowland was nice enough to allow me a little sound there. So I'm going to do my podcast live from the show floor every day, gang. So we'll be bringing in a bunch of the guys, a bunch of the influencers, and a bunch of people talking about their new products. So make sure you keep watching what we're doing too, because we're going to be hands-on at the show every day. It's going to be pretty exciting. And
that's awesome. I'm going to throw in there, you sort of alluded to it before, but as much as I love the whole aspect of the show and get excited about it every year, it's the people. It's the people that are at the show that I love, and I love seeing them. It's a shame I can't see them more often, and there's not enough time to see everybody. But there's just the real legends of the sport are there. My heroes are there. The people that have made a difference over the last 50 years are wandering the aisles of the show, and the leadership that exists at all the different companies. Name the company and the leaders there, and they're willing to talk to everybody that's on the floor.
Right. It's the camaraderie that you see. And like I said, the big name, Bill Dance, and people like that we grew up watching. They're there. They're at the show. Bill, Wild Bill from I met him last year at the show from
Deadliest catch.
Deadliest Catch. The guy is just a super cool human. He's just, you see him every day on the Deadliest Catch, and you're like, wow, this guy, I can't imagine. You talk to him, he's totally approachable, just like everybody in the industry, because just at the end of the day, we're just a bunch of guys and gals just hanging out with the same common interest. We just want to go catch a bunch of fish or catch a bunch of crabs. We just want to go fishing.
Yeah. So, once again, I met him at ICAST however many years ago, and then I got to fish with him 2 days in Guatemala. So it's pretty cool, the people you can meet at ICAST and then go fishing with.
Yeah, totally. It's just I'm so excited. I'm like, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm like a little kid. In ICAST, I'm just so excited that I get to be a part of it and then get to hang out with super cool people every day. Everybody's there. It's just so cool. When you walk around, you're just like, oh my God, there she is, there he is. And everybody's approachable. And then the products. This year, there's going to be some really fun stuff. I know I talked to the guys at Okuma. They got some fun stuff coming out. I talked to the guys at ReelQuick. They got some cool stuff coming out. Promar's got some cool stuff. Everybody's got some phenomenal products coming out this year. It's going to be cool to see it all, right, Glenn?
Oh my God. It's again what the staff has to do on Monday and Tuesday. So since basically April, all the manufacturers, all the exhibitors have been sending the new product information and trying to get into our system. And everybody, even those that aren't at the show, can still look at what's going on at icastfishing.org, and they can look at the ICAST 2025 app, and you're going to find all the information in there. Well, we're talking about over 800 products will be on display just in the new product showcase alone. There are still thousands more new products throughout the show floor, but when they're competing for these awards, let's just say for the best freshwater bait, it's going to be, they can't put in all their new baits. They're only going to compete. They don't want to compete with themselves. So they put in one product from their company. And so we've got 800 products, more than 800 products already registered to be there. Monday and Tuesday, we try to register them and get them all in there so that we have a new product showcase on Tuesday evening. And that's where all the retailers and the media have a chance to get the first look at these products. And that's always a fun event as well. I'm going to throw in there, on top of that, we've thrown in 2 more events that I've got to try to be a part of. After we have our board meeting in the afternoon for ASA, we have an event for the media to come together and meet our PR folks, Rob Shane and Garrett Briggs. And then they're going to have a chance to talk to you a little bit more about ASA and some of the things that we expected to show. While we also have another event with the first-time exhibitors. We have 140 new exhibitors at the show this year, and we're going to invite them together to get together with us, try to get to know them a little bit, and try to help them have a more successful show, besides having the new product reception that night. So again, Tuesday is going to be a crazy day. We call it Super Tuesday, but it's Crazy Tuesday.
And then if you got 800 products in the new product showcase, you said? If you're one of those people, how do you get yourself separated from the other 799 brand new products? It's kind of tough, right?
Yeah. Well, there's 41 categories.
Okay.
So there's 7 fly fishing categories. There's saltwater reel, freshwater reel. There's fly reel. There's fly rod. There's freshwater saltwater rods. There's different types of clothing, men's and women's clothing. There's, there'll be the kayaks. There's assortment. So you got to divide yourself over those 41. But to pick the best new lure when you've got 260 some odd lures, that's tough. Right. And so we try to, you got to take the time to really go through the product. And then I can't say that people are going to necessarily vote on every category, but if you're going to take it seriously, you got to spend the time in those lures and try to figure out what you think's the best one. What do you think's going to sell in the stores? And they have until 1 o'clock the next day to continue to look at voting during the show hours. But it's tough. It's hard to see everything.
And then I had a question, because I go through the new product showcase every year. Who's the people that get to vote on the new products? Who gets to decide which is the best, which is the coolest?
Not the manufacturers. Just the retailers. And just the media, members of the media, not the media that sells advertising. I'm talking about the media editorial. They're the only ones allowed in the room Tuesday evening, and we'll have thousands of votes that will determine which ones are going to get best of show for those individual 41 categories and best of show overall the next day.
All right. So, and that's just me being a guy asking a question. Let's say I made a lure and they're going to see the lure laying there on the table or in the showcase or whatever, and then they have to make a decision. Or is there a small video that shows the lure working, or how does that work? Because I'm not real positive.
Still on their app, on the app, you could, if they uploaded a video, you could see a video.
So there'll be like a QR code or something?
Yeah, it's actually just click on the video if they've loaded it. And I will say that this product isn't necessarily first seen at the show. They could have been available anytime after January 1, 2025. It couldn't have been available before that. So some of these products have been out on the market and in retails, and so folks have owned it, but we wanted to represent new products for 2025.
Okay, that makes a little more sense, starting to understand it, put the puzzle together. Because when you guys are there and you're walking through the new product showcase, it is absolutely amazing the way that they're all laid out and the way that it's so clean and so put together. And so it's like being at like a museum, for lack of a better word. When you're looking at the products, you're like, wow, that is incredible how they did that. And so that's a cool thing to know that you can download a little video for it.
Yep. It's you got to take advantage of the tools available to you. And again, a lot of these products will be pushed by the manufacturers before they ever get there. They're going to put it in the media. Most of your folks may not see the trade media. There's basically 3 trade publications around our fishing world, and Fishing Tackle Retailer, Angling International, and Tackle Trade World they're just piled up right now between their emails. Anybody that might follow the email, daily email, the Fishing Wire, they are loaded up with products that are going to be on display at ICAST. And so there's a buzz. There's an absolute buzz going on these products before they ever get there.
For sure. You can feel it when you're walking around in there. You can feel it. You can see it on the people's faces. It's one of the really cool parts of the whole show, but there's so much other cool stuff going on at the show.
Yep.
I'm just going to throw this out there for a second. What do you consider your favorite part of the show? Meeting all the people, or seeing the new products, or just the whole show in general and how it all comes together? And then the last day, what do you think is the best part? The last day?
Well, it's that combination. You can't wait for the show to start, and then got to say there's a little bit of relief when the show ends, but there's never enough time. And so, as I say before, it's really the people. I don't want to say products come and go, but it's these people that I built relationships with over 30 years. And the new folks I've met over the last just decade have really become good friends. And there's a next generation. I still think I'm 25 years old. I'm not. But I've been going to the show since I was 25. And so, like I said, it's great to see the old friends, but it's really cool to see that next generation coming in, because there's going to be new leaders that have to take our place, the next 5, 10, 15 years. And we're going to count on them to be fully engaged with what's going on, to appreciate the industry. It's like appreciating the United States of America. You've got to really be a part of that and be a part of the solution.
Absolutely. Michael Folks comes on my show every Tuesday, and we talk about the history of sport fishing, his new docuseries. And it's hard to imagine that the Declaration of Independence was written in the oldest fishing clubhouse in America, in Philadelphia. And gang, if you stop and you think about that, if you haven't seen the history of sport fishing, there's so much on this, and it's all the history of sport fishing goes all the way back to the founding fathers of America, gang. That's how crazy our industry is, and how important it is to make sure that we keep America fishing, which is your biggest slogan and something that you run on all the time. It's super important. Can we talk about that part of this show a little bit for a minute? I got one.
Yeah, but I'm gonna hold you off on that for a minute. Okay. So what you just mentioned. Where'd he go?
I'm going to be right there. My monkey just dumped over or something. Hold on. Keep talking. I'm right here with you.
So I'm a Philly boy, and so I have an opportunity to say go Birds. Sorry for the rest of you West Coasters and LA fans. And but Philadelphia is in my blood, and I spent the first 25 years of my life there. And so yes, the Declaration of Independence is important to me, and what happened there. And now I'm a Washington D.C. guy who, if you've ever been to where George Washington lived in Mount Vernon, he had a fishing business, a commercial fishing business for herring right there on the Potomac River. And I've seen those herring, and I've been across the different areas that he crossed way back when. And there's no doubt you can't help but feel the history, the richness and the heritage that goes on in these areas.
Yeah, Michael talks about how George Washington didn't go anywhere without his little tackle pack. He always had a little tackle bag with him whenever he would go anywhere. And he would just, if he had 5 seconds of free time, he would throw a line in the water and fish. That's kind of an amazing history that they didn't teach us in school, Glenn.
No.
There was no mention of fishermen in history of the United States of America in school.
No. So before we jump into those other fun things about keeping fishing, there are some other things about the show I want to mention to you and
please
mention
do
to the audience. And it appears what's going down the side, you got a lot of people that are coming out to the show that have booths and are hopefully all the retailers from the West Coast are coming as well. So the show officially kicks off Wednesday morning at our industry breakfast, and we have a speaker named Damon West, and he's got quite a story to tell. He's written a book called The Coffee Bean, and I won't get into his story, but it's pretty amazing. A kid that really screwed up his life and was going to spend the rest of his life in jail was able to get his life turned around and is a pillar in the community and somebody that everybody can learn from. And so it's really good to get the people in the room. There'll be about 650 folks at the breakfast to get motivated and realize we can overcome pretty much anything if Damon can overcome what he overcame. And I got a special guest, and I'm not going to tell you who it is. I am so excited about something we just locked in last night, and you'll just have to see on next Wednesday. But it's pretty exciting who we have coming to the show, and we'll be there Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll see if he hangs around Thursday. I'll say it's not the president of the United States or the vice president. As a matter of fact, it's nobody in government, but we're excited to have this individual join us, and you'll just have to come, Dave, and check it out.
Yeah, I'm very blessed. Tim's bringing me along as his guest for the breakfast, so I'm pretty excited about being there for the breakfast. That's going to be fun.
That's the breakfast right there.
And thank you very much, Tim. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be good to hear him speak too, because my background's kind of sounds like the same kind of background as
I wasn't going to go there.
That's okay. I will. So it'll be good to sit and listen to his story, because I think we have the same story, definitely. So that'll be fun, and it's going to be exciting to see who your guest is. And this breakfast, oh my gosh, the who's who of the industry are all going to be sitting around having breakfast together. That's going to be pretty exciting. So thank you so much, Tim, for bringing me along for the ride. Last year when I got to the show in the morning, everyone's all, why weren't you at the breakfast? No one invited me. And I was sucking my thumb in the corner.
Well, shout out to Tim Manaka. He's certainly another pillar and leader in our industry. And I appreciate that his effort to not only, spend the money and the time, but to really engage a lot of folks. He brings them to his tables. He shares his message, and he gets to make sure that more people know about what's going on. And so Tim, we appreciate you a lot.
Oh, absolutely. Tim's an awesome human being, and he always takes time for everybody, and he breaks it down and explains to us what's going on and what we need to be involved in and what we need to stay away from. So Tim, thank you again very, very much. Before we get any farther, Elliot, can we just show everybody this quick video from McCarty Yacht Sales, Todd and John standing on the back of the Pescatory? And real quick, we'll show you guys that, and then we're going to get into some more stuff about how important it is to keep America fishing. I got the video. If you don't, Elliot, I think I got it right here. Sorry, gang, for this hesitation right there. Got it.
Hey guys, Captain Todd here with McCarty Yacht Group, Manson Marine, proud sponsor of Your Saltwater Guide. I'm here with my good buddy John McCarty.
Hey guys, how you doing?
The broker for McCarty Yacht Group. And guys, I just want to tell you it's springtime. It's time to start buying and selling. If you're looking to buy a boat right now or looking to sell a boat, make sure you give us a call at McCarty Yacht Group. Guys, you know how to get a hold of me at 949-547-7748. We're sitting on the Pescatory right now. This is like office number 1, 2, or 3. I can't remember. We're either in the office, at home, on a boat, but this is one of the places we do business, guys. But if you're looking for somebody to well represent you, we are a different breed of cat, guys. We work on boats for a living. We're going to make sure to sell your boat for the top price, or if you're looking to buy a boat, we're going to make sure you get something that's not a horrible project for you. So anyway, guys, give us a call. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks, Todd. Thanks, John. Awesome. So CCA is very well represented at the show. Their booth is incredible, and so many people I see stop by there and try to figure out what's going on with CCA and find out about it. And CCA is what we have going on the West Coast as far as being connected with our passion and how it's so important to keep America fishing, which is your logo, which is pretty much your theme. When I think of Keep America Fishing, I always think of you, Glenn, because it's such an important thing for both of us to be involved in. And the footprint that CCA has at the ICAST show is pretty impressive. They have that little building in there, and they got the boat sitting there, and they got a nice footprint on the show, right?
It's the people in these organizations that make the show great. You know, you don't just have booths and have people sitting in there not getting fired up. CCA fires up the crowd. They have great fundraisers and do a wonderful job. Pat Murray and his team have been real staples there and really grown it over the course of these years, and it just makes for a better show. And so I appreciate CCA, and they're partners with us certainly every day when it comes down to all the fisheries issues that we're dealing with. When you think about them, again, they're outward facing to consumers, where we're more on the trade side, but we partner on so many of the major issues, especially obviously marine related issues, coastal issues.
And as we're moving into this, talking about keeping America fishing and opening up more fisheries and trying to slow down the closures of more recreational fisheries, the thing that I think's got a lot of people terrified right now in America is this tariffs thing. And I know you're working so hard and so diligently on it, explaining it all to the people. Can you kind of just go through a little, and I'm sorry to throw you out there. I know you're overwhelmed with business right now, but there's a lot of people here that buy rods and reels and tackle and clothing and everything that are kind of terrified right now thinking about this stuff that's going on. Can you kind of help us out a little tiny bit?
I can try. So, and you'll hear some of this next week during the breakfast. Right now, if people don't realize, if a majority of fishing tackle is imported, okay, people should realize a majority, well over 50%, is imported. What people may not realize is that 91% of the fishing rods imported come from China. 87% of the fishing reels imported are imported from China. 96% of the fishing nets that we have imported are coming from China. Most nets are imported. And 63% of hooks are imported from China. That is a lot. And what happens is, and really consumers probably just don't realize, since there were tariffs put on our folks back in 2019, anywhere from 7.5% to 15% on product, because of it was coming from China. But that was more about intellectual property and the stealing of intellectual property. Now it's a combination of things. It's aluminum and it's steel and it's fentanyl and just because. And so the rods and reels that are going to be coming out of China have I'll just say on average about a 35% tariff that's started. And that's, I don't want to just put a number on it like that, but that's basically, at the wholesale level when it's coming out of China and coming into the US. Then it's up to the manufacturer on how much they're going to eat of that and how much that's going to get passed on to the wholesaler or distributor to retailer, and then what the retailer ends up charging at the end. It varies dramatically across the board. And so it's one thing to deal with China, but then it's things like even in Japan where it went up to 25%. And then there's two other things that I can throw in there about besides the tariffs. So It's a huge deal when you think about what the manufacturers are trying to do. It's almost impossible for them to forecast what's going to happen the rest of this year and in 2026, because it's really hard to price it when the price changes almost weekly, if not, a couple of times a month. So, for example, when President Trump took office in January 20th, since January 20th to now, there's been more than 30 changes to the tariff rules just in that time period. And then that's not, it's more than just China, it's every single country. And so really difficult for these guys to even think we're going to pick up and move our business to another country. Well, the infrastructure doesn't exist anywhere else. It certainly doesn't exist here in the United States. And so you think about Vietnam, you think about Taiwan, you think about Malaysia and Cambodia and these other places, Mexico, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Dominican Republic. They're all doing something, but you can't just pick up and move a real plant or factory to another country. It just doesn't work. Or it's going to take years, and then the pricing is going to be screwed up. It's really a problem. And so what we need is things to settle down, to pick a number so that we can move forward and try to be consistent. So it's really hurting the entire industry right now, whether it comes from China or anywhere else. And therefore, the consumers, I want them to get out there and buy product, but I understand if they're going to be hesitant because they don't know what's going to happen with the pricing. My recommendation, of course, would be buy now, because the prices could definitely go up.
And I think that's an important message for everyone out there to understand, is that the manufacturers move this on to the retailers. And it's hard if let's just say, for example, you're selling a hot dog and you bought the hot dog for 50 cents yesterday and you sold it for $1 today, but tomorrow the hot dog cost you $1 and you sold it for $1. So it's a bunch of moving parts, gang. You gotta understand, all the manufacturers, everybody that's in this industry is feeling the same pain. And I'm so excited that there's that many people coming out to the ICAST show. So these people are putting together the very best products they can possibly put together for all of us, so that we can have more fun when we're out fishing and more fun when we're out doing stuff. So just understand, they're all going through the same amount of pain that you are. So just remember that as we move forward. And I think that's an important message, right, Glenn?
Yeah, and I'd added that in some of the comments coming up. A lot of times people only hear about Apple or they hear about auto industry. Everybody in the fishing business is a small business, and there's no way around that. And so everybody needs help. And so we're spending a lot of time with Congress. We're spending a lot of time with the administration, and we're trying to talk to them about the impact it's having. And if it has the impact on our industry, the manufacturers, the wholesalers, the distributors, the retailers, it's going to impact the consumers as well. And so we're looking for, again, we want to just settle it down. We want to have some consistency. We want to have like expectations that we know what's going to happen over the course of the next 12 to 18 months, so that we can run a business.
Right. Yeah. My buddy John, he owns River Cats Tackle in Louisiana. He's the guy that just said it's hurting us small business owners. We understand that, John, and we're trying to support everybody as much as we possibly can as we move forward. But I think the message you're sharing right now is important for everyone out there to hear, because we see media telling us tariffs this, tariffs that, but we don't really understand. And then when you have Glenn coming on here and explaining to you what's really going on, thank you for sharing that message with us, because I think it's important for our listeners to hear this, because we are the people out there buying the products.
I think that sometimes it's difficult for the consumers to understand. And I had somebody high up in one of the biggest companies with me in Washington, D.C. a few weeks ago. We were meeting with the Department of Interior, and he says, we can make a $408 reel here in the U.S., but we can't make an $8 reel here in the U.S. And the first time sale of a lot of the reels that you see at I'll just say a Walmart, the entry level, to get kids started, that package might be $29.99. It starts out as an $8 reel. And you need to be able to make millions and millions of those so that we get people started in the sport. when you think you can just come in and make a reel that's going to compete, it's just not as easy. That infrastructure doesn't exist. We haven't built a spinning reel really in the United States for 25 years when Zebco finally left.
And and that's a message that needs to be told, because you're not buying a $400 spinning reel for your 6-year-old son or daughter. You're not going to do that. So we all have to stop for a minute and think. And I know it's super easy to say, build in America. If you can't build it in America today, maybe you will be in 10 years from now if you put the factory together and you put all the components together, and then you can build that $8 spinning reel in America. But it's going to take 10 years to put the building together, the people together, the whole thing together. So you all have to understand as we're moving forward what's really going on. And that's why I thought it was important just to touch on it for a few minutes. And then you said something to Elliot and I before we went live about the tax on products of $800 or less, which was kind of a unique thing for us to hear.
More than happy to talk about that. I want to just also mention that there are some things made in the U.S. And a total shout out to our friends at Eagle Clowers celebrating their 100th anniversary of making hooks in the U.S. in Denver, Colorado. And so it is pretty cool that they've got their 100th anniversary. You've got other rod manufacturers, St. Croix and others that are making some rods here in the U.S., but the vast majority are coming from overseas. Vast majority. It's really not even close. And there's plenty of soft plastic baits and a combination of things that are made here in the U.S. I give folks a lot of credit for making in the U.S. if you can do it, and try to squeeze out a profit. If we try to bring it all back, I'd be all for it. But you're going to see prices go way up, and then it's whether the consumer's ready to deal with that. So you mentioned something that's really become important recently, and if some of the folks that are dealing with product that gets shipped from overseas direct to consumers, it's called de minimis. It's been around for a long time, but the number has changed. So to try to avoid some of the taxes on stuff that's less expensive being shipped overseas, I mean, this goes back to really almost 100 years ago, and people coming across in a ship and being taxed for things that were really small. So they put this limit, said you can't tax under this dollar value. And it went up to $800 in 2016. And so what that means is, instead of you going down to your local tackle shop and supporting the U.S. retailer and buying your, I won't put a name brand on it, reel that costs $700 here in the U.S., and you pay a sales tax on it, someone's buying it from overseas and trying to get it in directly into the U.S., and they will avoid paying a tax. I get it where people want to avoid spending the tax, but really there should be no $800 limit on it. It should be fair trade, and therefore you should pay a tax whether you get it shipped in from somewhere else in the world or whether you buy it from your local retailer. And so that's de minimis. There's a part two of that. It's called excise tax slippage, and I think your listeners probably know for sure that everybody's paying an excise tax on fishing tackle. All rods, reels, lines, and lures, fishing nets go down even trolling motors, 3%, rods up to $10, 10% on everything else. There's over $200 million of excise taxes that are collected every year, and it starts with the fishing tackle manufacturer's first-time sale here in the United States. Stuff that gets shipped from overseas is not getting taxed because IRS can't chase it down. So there's a new law that's being talked about in the House and Senate right now called the Excise Tax, or it's Sporting Goods Excise Tax Modernization Act. And this is a bill that's trying to level the playing field, make it fair for the U.S. manufacturers and for the folks that are selling retail here in the U.S., that people are all paying the same excise tax on those products that are sold. Then that money also goes to support conservation. So it's a double whammy where, one, it's got to be fair and it's got to go to support the conservation, because people don't realize this is the 75th anniversary of the Sport Fish Restoration and Boating Trust Fund. The act was passed back in 1950, Dingell-Johnson bill. And since then, there's been $12 billion, and it's been matched up with the motorboat fuel tax that has gone towards conservation. It's opened over 9,000 boat ramps. It supports over 320 fish hatcheries, over 200 species of fish, Over 1 billion fish are produced in these hatcheries each year that people go fishing for, and they buy fishing tackle to go fishing for them. So it's really important that this is something we're trying to reauthorize Sportfish Restoration Boating Trust Fund this year. We have the excise tax slippage through the Sporting Goods Excise Tax Modernization Act. De minimis, I was going to try to just throw in there that it's in the one big beautiful bill, the de minimis has gone down to 0 from China. So anything from China is paying a tax. It's going to take, that was sort of done on a part of an executive order before we got to here. As far as the one big beautiful bill, they're going to get away with de minimis, but it's supposedly going to take till even maybe the summer of 27 for that to go into effect. But we'll see if the administration can do it faster than that. But these are things to help the industry and to help make sure that we have a level playing field with the rest of the world.
It's so important for us.
Everybody on that.
No, it's important for us to hear all this because I talk about it all the time on the show, is how there's so much more to fishing than when you and I, Glenn, grabbed our fishing pole when we were kids and went out and fished on the dock. And my father, God bless him and God rest his soul, he used to tell me all the time, David, you need to get involved. And I was like, Dad, I don't want to be involved in the politics part of this thing. That's not me. And he's all, listen, if you don't get involved and start helping us, we won't be able to fish anymore. And as you go down this rabbit hole and you're so deeply involved and you wear so many different hats, it's just absolutely overwhelming to think of all these different factors that have to do with me going out and getting a piece of fishing line in a hook just to go fishing. It's just overwhelming to think of all this stuff. And then on top of all that, where can I put my line in the water, Glenn? Yep. Now we got a whole nother set of problems on top. We just finally saved up enough money to get that reel. Now I got to figure out where can I drop my line in the water. And why do you think there are entities in America that don't want us to recreational fish? I had to ask this question of Wayne, and I asked the question of Tommy Gomes, and Tommy said it's real estate. They don't want to give up any more real estate on the water for fishermen. What do you think?
It's funny. It's not even necessarily about the fish sometimes. And so how do I describe that? When we think about things like, we may have touched on it last summer, we were able to fight back NOAA on the right whale issue. NOAA's solution to right whales on the East Coast in the wintertime, November through May, was we're going to slow down boats over 35 feet to 10 miles an hour or 10 knots. And you're like, what? It's crazy. And we had to fight them for 3 years, and they dropped that just before President Trump took office, because they want to still open it up so that they can fight it another day. But the idea of that, talk about killing boat sales, which then kills people fishing and kills tackle sales and kills all the local industries, from marinas to boat dealers to even restaurants and hotels. I mean, it's just brutal, but there's not any thought. They didn't think maybe we should ask the sport fishing industry what they think of this. And so we've been battling that for a long time. And I think we've come a long way, because we have numbers now that can show that people assume commercial fishing is bigger than recreational fishing. It's not. And if you think about right now, that NOAA manages the waters, the federal waters off the East Coast and West Coast. It's 3 miles offshore. It's federal waters out to 200 miles. They are making rules without having enough information. What we've been able to prove to them is that if you look at the number of recreational anglers on the coastlines, there's about 15 million, and the money that they spend and the jobs that they represent, more than 600,000, it's more jobs and it's more money than comes from commercial fin fishing. I'm not getting into the shellfish or some of the other types of species that are fished for. When it comes to fin fish, we have more jobs with recreational fishing than the commercial fishing does. And it's taken a long time to get that message through. And so when I talk about access, they're killing access by trying to slow down boats because they want to protect the right whale. We all want to protect the right whale, but that's not going to do it. We have technology. We can do this other ways. there's other examples of this. If anybody ever comes down to Florida and fishes for red snapper, they wanted to close the fishery in Northeast Florida December, January, and February to protect the red snapper. The red snapper has never had a higher population of fish right now, but the way they count them, and they only allow us to fish for them this year 2 days. Today is day 1, tomorrow's day 2 to fish for red snapper. You think you got it bad on the West Coast? We got 2 days. And so so they decide that they're going to close a fishery down for 3 months so you can't fish for 55 species to protect the red snapper. It's brilliant, right? And so now, to their credit and our efforts, they were able to get rid of that idea before it ever went into fruition, because now with the Trump administration, there's a new gentleman that's in charge of NOAA fisheries, Henio Pinheiro Soler, who heard us and said, you know what, you're right, and helped stop this from happening. But we still only have 2 days of fishing for red snapper. It's really a combination of bad science. It's not listening to the states about how many fish there are, because I can get into so many details about, like in the Gulf of Mexico, the 5 states took it over, and they allow for over 100 days of fishing for red snapper. But if the federal government was doing, it would be just a couple of days. And there's plenty of red snapper, believe me. So it's not always about just the fish. It's about these other elements that are tied into it that are not even relevant to taking care of a species.
And you and I talked a little bit before the show. The answer to 90% of these problems of not having any science in these closures is for us, we the people, we the fishermen, we the hunters, to get involved, right? To get involved, to show up at these meetings. It's the hardest thing for us to comprehend out here on the West. I don't know how it is on the East Coast. I don't know. I haven't been there.
Same thing.
Do people show up?
I got to give credit to it's, everything in the world is 80-20 rule, right? You assume that, 80% of the money comes from 20% of the companies, 80% of the help comes from 20% of the people. It's really about 5% of the people, if I break it down, and I have some numbers that support that. But it's a shame, but I got to shout out to those people that do get involved. I love it. I love the CCA and the folks that get involved there, our industry, the folks that get involved in it. But anglers, in many respects, are fairly apathetic, and it's hard to. I think until they are told you can't fish here, then they're probably not going to do that much about it. And I'm not knocking them. I get it. It's life. And until I got involved, I didn't really know any better because I had access to fishing, and the fishing was pretty good. And so I think it's just taking the time, listen, get engaged, and realize that there's something to be done. And so, similar but different from the shooting sports industry, they all rally around the Second Amendment, and for good reason. They don't want their guns taken away. Well, if the access to fishing is having the use of your rod being taken away if you don't have access, and people need to make noise. A lot of times, again, we're influenced by the lack of data that we have and research. And so people are making decisions that are not well-founded. And so it's really important that we all rally behind the information that we have and show that there's value, that their fishing is good, and that the sport fishing industry is strong, and everybody needs to be a part of the solution.
And ASA is such a big part of that on the East Coast. And I'm learning more about it now that because of you and I becoming friends and getting together at the CCA dinner and finding out all about what's going on. Gang, there's a reason why ASA exists. It's to try to keep America, and we throw this slogan out all the time, but it's to keep America fishing, because everything about Glenn and I is about fishing. We've been fishing since we were little kids. If you listen to our interview with Glenn last summer, we talk about how he grew up in the industry and now he gets to work in it, and it's a dream job for him. And it's just like my father grew up in the industry and it was a dream job for him. But you and my dad both got it before most of us, that they want to take it away from us so bad. So you guys, my dad worked right till the last second of his life trying to make sure that we got to fish. And you're doing the same thing, and we need to all be involved. And Elliot will throw up the QR code for ASA, and we always throw up the QR code during our shows for CCA, but it's super important for we the people to be involved as we move forward, because there's so much going on behind the scenes, Glenn, that most of us don't even really understand what, and like you said, then we look up and we're not allowed to fish. And we're like,
Yeah.
what just happened? Well, the information's out there if we seek it, right?
Information's out there, maybe not enough. asafishing.org/advocacy. We're going to try to cover a lot of the major issues. It's certainly not just East Coast, it's West Coast as well. We've been heavily involved. Not only do we have Larry Phillips up in Washington State, he spends a lot of time down in Sacramento and California. We've hired Jacob James out there as well as a lobbyist for us to help us with our efforts to work with CCA on a lot of the different issues there. I have other assorted folks around the country doing a great job. It's one thing to say ASA, but again, it's made up of the people, and the team we have at ASA is just fantastic. And really the pillars here, one of the goals I had when I came in as president more than 7 years ago is that, like the old E.F. Hutton ad, when E.F. Hutton speaks and people listen. I want people to know that when ASA talks, and I'm not talking me, I'm just one of the guys. When Mike Leonard and Mike Wayne and Martha Galles and Connor Bevan and Larry Phillips and Gary Jennings and our teams talk, it's because they come from knowledge and they come from passion. They have the experience, they have the relationships. And in DC, the folks at Fish and Wildlife Service and NOAA know who we are, and I get take as much time as I can to spend with them as well, because they need to hear from us. They need to hear from the consumers. And so anything we can do to get your folks involved, we'll take it, because there's a lot to be done.
Yeah, and it's about staying educated, gang, as we move forward here. And as Glenn and I leave for ICAST, so I'm going to make sure that you guys get to see as much about it as what's going on. But we got to be very diligent in this, keeping us all engaged in this fight to keep fishing open. Because I know I asked you the question a few minutes ago, and I just can't wrap my head around why there's people in America that don't want us to go recreational fishing, don't want to see a child catching a fish. I mean, they even teach it in schools out here in California that if you go outside and you fish, you're the enemy. And I just don't understand that, because fishing saved my life. If it wasn't for fishing, I know I would not be sitting here at 63, almost 64 years old. But fishing saved my life, and it saved so many of my friends' lives. And it's hard. It almost brings a tear to my eye right now, thinking that my granddaughter may not be able to fish in America. And I don't understand that. I don't understand it, Glenn. And I don't know why is it so important to stop recreational fishing?
I think it's again, maybe not the act of fishing, but people think you're hurting fish. People don't. That's the beauty of fishing. I mean, you can catch and release a fish, but God put them on this earth for us to also have sustenance, and if you treat them correctly, if you do certain types of fisheries management, you can have healthy, sustainable fisheries, and you can catch them and you can eat them if you want to, but you can let them go too. I just love to fish, whether I eat the fish or not. But at the same time, nothing makes me happier than watching others catch fish and watching others catch their first fish. And able to take a few folks out recently, and it just brings a smile to your face. And I get more excited than they do, I think. But it's a part of life, and it's a part of why we do what we do. It's because we have such a passion for it. And I know that all your viewers and listeners do too. It's what we do. And I'm sorry your father passed away working towards that. I'm probably going to be fishing when that happens, when I kick. But hopefully I have some people I'm taking fishing as well for either their first time or just to get together with friends and family. So it's what we do.
Absolutely. And it's the fabric of the United States of America, gang. And it was written into our Constitution. It was written by our forefathers that we need to be able to do this stuff. And it's just hard to imagine that there's an entity out there that wants to stop us from doing that. So please, as you watching this show and you share it with your friends and family, and you talk about what Glenn and I talked about, try to remember to share this with as many people as you can, because it's all about making people aware of what's going on today in this industry. And Never, like I said earlier, never in my wildest imagination did I think I would be a conduit for this political thing that's going on in America today as far as fishing goes. But I have to, because I don't want to live on a planet where my granddaughter or my grandson can't fish. And I'm very aware of what's going on. And my sister keeps me very aware.
Yeah, let me say that back at ICAST, we've added another event on Thursday night. We're calling Party for a Purpose. And so, not that we want ICAST to be so much political, we just want to raise awareness and have people, again, supporting the cause and being a part of the solution. And so, Party for a Purpose Thursday evening is for the entire show to come together, meet with other folks that are doing great work in terms of conservation efforts, and get to know each other better. And I think that the better the relationships, the more people can participate. Thanks for putting that up, Elliot. You can see anybody can click on that silent auction and raffle and be a part of supporting Keep America Fishing. But we've got a dozen great trips on there too that people can go after and and really have a chance to not only support the cause, but do some great fishing and even hunting and different trips in there. So, yep, there they are. So enjoy that. And if you have anything to do with the industry, we have about 12 categories for you to get involved with to be at the show. You can still get registration, pay for registration on site on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, but it's going to be a great week. What can I say? It's Christmas in July. It's the favorite week of the year, and I can't wait.
No, I'm super excited too, Glenn. And I want to thank you very much for spending an hour. You're the most busiest time of your life to be with me. So I do appreciate that. And thank you very much, gang. This is super special to have Glenn with us today. And conservation works, gang. There's no one that's more into conservation than fishermen. We know conservation works. And when you talked about the redfish and the amount of fish that are down in Florida and Texas and the amount of redfish in the Gulf, that's all because of us, because of our conservation efforts. So never, ever say that we don't care about the environment. We care more than anybody because that's where we spend all our life. So thank you very much, Glenn. Thank you, McCarty Yacht Sales. Elliot, thanks for producing a phenomenal show again for us. And we will see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. with our What's Happening on the Water Saturday Morning Report podcast live. We got some great guests coming in tomorrow to talk about it. And I'm going to let you get back to work, Glenn. Thank you for spending an hour with us. Everybody have a great day. Turn off the news. They're all lying. This is the only place you get the truth.